Namo Namaha. Very Namaskaramulu. Today is a good day. We are going to start a new topic. We have seen Vedas, and now we are going to see Vedangas by Dr. CSR Prabhu Garu. He is our academic director and DG of National Informatics Limited, retired. And his profile we have already posted in the group. Please go through detailed profile. Now I request Aditi to chant Prarthana, please.
Namaste. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
Okay. Dhanyavadamulu, Aditi. Now, let us request Dr. CSR Prabhu Garu to start the webinar, please.
Hello. Good evening to all of you. I'm so happy to meet you all today. Now, you have already heard a lot about the Vedas, what the Vedas contain. Please mute those sounds. So the basic structure of the Vedas you must have come understood now. There are 4 Vedas, and Vedas contain the mantras. So the understanding of Vedas is dependent upon what are called Vedangas. Excuse me. If you have to understand the Vedic mantras, like so many mantras you must have heard, like Bhadram Karne Visranayama Deva, Bhadram Pasyemakshvirya Jatra, Sthirairangais Tushtuagum Sastanubhi, Vyasema Devahitam Yadayuhu, Swasti na Indro Vruddhasrava, Swasti na Pusha Vishvaveda, Swasti nastarksho arishthanemihi, Swasti no Brihaspati dadatu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is one Veda mantra. What does it mean? If you want to understand the meaning, you need to understand 6 different topics, and they are called the Vedangas. For example, you should understand grammar. That's called Vyakarana Vedanga. Or you have to understand the prosody, that is the Chandas. Or you have to understand the basic pronunciation, basic correct reading, that is Shiksha. And you should have some basic concept of the context of a ritual, that is Kalpa. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, and the basic meaning or the etymology of the words, and that is called Nirukta. The words may be sounding different, but it is very straightforward and very simple that, unless you know the grammar, unless you know the chanting, unless you know the etymology of the words or the meaning dictionary, you cannot understand a particular statement or mantra of the Veda. Every statement or every sentence in the Veda is called mantra. So to understand that mantra, you require grammar, and you also require Jyotisha, which is the last. Because all the Vedic mantras are based upon the requirements to be used in the yajnas, which are based upon time calculations. Which month, which day, Tithi, Vara, Nakshatra. So that is Jyotish Shastra. So Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, there is no meaning of any sentence without grammar, and without the meaning in terms of the dictionary thesaurus, which is called nirukta. So that is compulsory. And also the basic pronunciation and basic education in the Sanskrit language and other basic teachings are called siksha. Kalpa is the ritual steps involved. Siksha, kalpa, vyakarana, nirukta, chandas and jyotish. So these are the 6 Vedangas on which we will discuss today and tomorrow. So in siksha, we have different types of siksha. But for example, if you take the varnocharana siksha, pronunciation of the sounds, Panini gave a whole book called Varnocharana Siksha. So how do you produce the sounds? Can you produce the sound, say, from the throat or from the nose or from the lips? Akuha visarjaniyaha kanthyaha. Panini says, a, ka, kha, ga, gha, and ha and visarga are coming from throat, kanthya. Ichuesha stalavyaha, I, cha, cha, ja, ja, and sha, they are coming from talu, that is palate, but front palate. Ruturasha murdhanya, murdha is the back palate. R, ta, tha, da, dha, na, sha. So you see where the tongue is touching the top of the mouth. Sha, when you say sha, that is murdha, it is called. That is top portion of the mouth. So Ruturasha murdhanya, Upu padmanya oshtya, U, pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. So these are produced by lips. So that's why they are called oshtyas. So edaita kantatalavyo vodoto kantrostyo, then there are combinations also. So O and Ow are coming as a combination of throat and lips. O, Ow. So this way he has clearly identified the sounds and their pronunciation. And that is called Varnocharana Siksha. That is one of the major components of the Siksha Vedanga. Of course, we also have a Siksha Valli in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which talks of the convocation address at the end of completion of the course. But basic Siksha is this, because in the normal Hindi language, Siksha means education. In Telugu, Siksha means punishment. But here it's not like that. Siksha is basic knowledge. Then Kalpa Shastra is there, where based on which we perform various rituals like Satyanarayana Vratam or Varalakshmi Vratam. If you see those books, they will be written Vrata Kalpamu. So Varalakshmi Vrata Kalpamu, Vinayaka Chavati Vrata Kalpamu. Like that it will be written. That means the procedure to be followed. In what steps you are following, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that entire puja vidhanam. So where which mantra is to be chanted. So that procedure is called Kalpashastra. So Kalpashastra is used extensively in our lifestyle. So we have touched upon what is Siksha, what is Kalpa, and Vyakarana we will discuss in detail today and maybe tomorrow also. Because Panini, the great grammarian by the name Panini, actually it's a title. Panini literally means Saraswati. So he has been given the title Panini. He was a professor and possibly head at Takshashila University. He is dated around 7th century BC, which is now in Pakistan. So in that Takshashila University, he had a team of about 150 people, with whose help he produced one system of grammar rules, which are like production rules in a compiler. Like, if you take a programming language like Python, there will be a Python compiler or interpreter. There is a language definition, syntax, is given by the BNF syntax, and for that the production rules will generate all possible words in that language. If you take, say, grammar for Python, then in that grammar it will be in such a way defined that any path you take in the grammar will produce one command of Python. All commands, all instructions in Python are covered in Python grammar. A similar feat has been achieved for a natural language which we call Sanskrit today. Panini never used the word Sanskritam. In his grammar, he simply said Bhasha. That means the language which existed. Bhashayam. That is a sutra. Everything is in Bhasha. Of course, we know that there are three different types of bhashas even at his time. One is the Prakrita, that is various local languages. In Baluchistan, where he was living, Takshashila University, they must have had a local Prakrit, Pashtun or something, which is now called Pashtun. At his time, it may be called some other name. And similarly, in Ayodhya, they had Avadhi. In Magadha, they had Magadhi, and they had Shauraseni. And of course, in south, we have Tamil, which is the oldest of all Prakrits. And like this, so many Prakrits were there. But Sanskritam means refined and processed. Prakrit means naturally there, crude. So Panini addressed the word Bhasha because only one Bhasha he recognized, and that is official or religious language or literary language that we call Sanskritam today. So for that Bhasha, he has given a set of production rules by passing through which one by one all words in that language can be generated. Just like grammar for Python or grammar for Fortran. All commands, all words in that language can be generated as per the rules. Same thing he did here, but not for a programming language, but for a language called, he called Bhasha, but we call Sanskrit. This is a refined, processed, and that's why it is called Deva Bhasha, divine language. So in that set of rules, about 4,000 rules are there. So he has covered around 8 chapters. All the 4,000 rules are covered in 8 chapters. That is why it's called Ashtadhyayi. So Panini's grammar is called Ashtadhyayi, very famous. Till today, no other human work has been identified as more creative, more complex, more intelligent than Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Of course, he may not be alone in building that. He had a team of people. He might have had 100 people or 200 people, we don't know. But he has built that. And before him also, there were grammarians. Vyakarana Shastra is not that Panini himself developed it. Before Panini, there was Shakatayana, Katyayana, and before that, there was Indra, Hanuma, Anjaneya. Anjaneya was known as Navavyakarana Vetta. He knew 9 Vyakaranas. And Indra Vyakaranam, Indra wrote 1 Vyakaranam. They are much, much ancient compared to Panini. So Panini himself refers to Shakatayana, Katyayana as grammarians before him who held certain statements or certain positions on a particular question. So he is referring to them. But he gave his own rules. And do you know who gave the commentary to Panini's rules? Patanjali wrote. Well, we don't know whether it's the same Patanjali of Yoga Shastra or is a different Patanjali. But one Patanjali, some people say is the same person, but some people say it's different because the Patanjali who wrote the Yoga Sutras is supposed to be much more ancient than Panini, possibly. So another Patanjali who wrote the commentary to Panini Sutras, that means after Panini. That Patanjali Mahabhashya is there. It's a great commentary on the Sutras of Panini. So Panini Sutras are production rules, and I developed one method of converting them to a C language procedure in 1988 and applied for patent also. So every Panini rule will be representable as a C language procedure. For example, Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. You all must have heard of Savarna Dirgha Sandhi in your 8th class or 9th class. Ravana plus Asura is equal to Ravanasura. Correct? So how that A came? Ravana has one A, Asura has one A. So both A's combined to become A. So that is called Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. And there is a sutra by Panini, Akas Savarne Dirgha. When there is Savarna next to Ayu, there will be a Dirgha. That means long, double size. So that is the sutra which in Telugu we say Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. Then in Telugu we say Guna Sandhi. Parama plus Ishvara, Parameshvara. How it has come? Again, Panini Sutra is the original. Adeng Gunaha, Iko Guna Vriddhi. So when Ik is there and Guna comes, then it becomes Vriddhi. Vriddhiradaich. Vriddhi means I. So he has given all these rules. And accordingly, the entire language, not only for Sandhis, normally we think only Sandhis are there, but for everything else also, that is not only Sandhis, but even the basic word formation, like you have studied Rama, how Ramasya has come, how Ramena has come. He has given the Siddhi process, step by step. So these are the various techniques he has used, and there are many more things which he has used. We will continue tomorrow. He has used advanced concepts like recursion. We all think programming was developed by Ada Lovelace in England, but the concepts involved in programming, like coding, encoding, and then encryption, and then even recursion, they are all used in Panini's Ashtadhyayi, which is much, much older. It's about 7th century BC. So, in the Panini's Ashtadhyayi, which is the core text of the Vyakarana Vedanga, of course, there are other Vyakaranas before Panini, but they have all been lost. So, what we have is only Panini's Ashtadhyayi. But what has happened? People have written a lot of commentaries on it. Patanjali wrote, that's great. But other than Patanjali, all kinds of people wrote all kinds of books based on Panini grammar. And one such method is Kaumudi by Appaya Dikshita, which has been used very, very commonly in all the universities and in all the Sanskrit teaching institutions. But it is a very long way of doing things. It is like if you ask where is your nose, instead of showing my nose is here, if I show that my nose is, I am way here like this, it is like that. That Kaumudi method is there. They have made sure that the efficiency and the scientific approach of Panini Ashtadhyayi is lost in the Kaumudi method, and as a result, many of the Sanskrit students of grammar find it very, very, very difficult. So that is why some scholars developed direct Ashtadhyayi method. That is called, one of them is called Saralatama Vidhi. It was developed by one Brahmadatta Jijnasu, who is the teacher of my teacher. I learned this Ashtadhyayi at the age of 12. You think you are very young, but I was even much more younger. So what I learned in this method, now I'm able to use in a big way. A lot of people say that I'm a Sanskrit scholar, but they ask me which university you studied Sanskrit. I never studied Sanskrit in any university. I studied engineering in JNTU, but I studied Sanskrit through the Saralatama Vidhi Ashtadhyayi Paddhati way back in 1967. So I'll explain you more about the Panini's Ashtadhyayi tomorrow. Now it is already 7:30. Are you enabling any questions now? I'll stop now and continue the topic tomorrow.
We will look for some interaction with the students.
Hello?
We'll have some interaction with the students.
Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead. Anybody wants to ask anything on what I spoke today? I'll be happy to answer.
Anybody wants to ask any question? Do you hear me?
Your voice is feeble, but I can hear you.
Anybody wants to ask any question? I think no questions today. Tomorrow
Okay.
probably we will.
Okay, tomorrow I'll continue this same topic, Panini's Ashtadhyayi Vyakarana, and I'll touch upon the remaining Vedangas also tomorrow. But focus will be on the Vyakarana Vedanga.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there is a question. Can you say anything about the other three Angas? Yes. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotish. Nirukta will be nothing but a dictionary of the words of the Vedas. Only Vedas, not outside Vedas. Sanskrit language, there are two types, Vedic Sanskrit and normal Sanskrit. Vaidiki and Laukiki. So only for Vaidiki, we have the Yaska Maharshi, who developed one subject called Nirukta, which is etymology and thesaurus, dictionary and thesaurus. So the equivalent words, like for example, for earth, Ila, Mahi, and Gau, like this, so many equivalent words are there for earth. They are given there. It is the equivalent of Amarakosha for normal Sanskrit. For Vyavaharika Sanskrit or classical Sanskrit, we have got Amarakosha, which is developed recently by an Amarsinha, who was a prince, king, Rajput. Whereas this Yaska Maharshi is much, much more ancient, thousands of years old. So he gave what is called Nirukta as a thesaurus and dictionary for the Vedic words only. Like, the synonyms of earth, as I told you, Ila, Mahi, Kshma, and also Gau. We think Gau means cow, but in Veda, Gau also means earth. Ayam Gau, there is a mantra. So, and also another meaning is rays of light. So all these equivalent names are given in synonyms, thesaurus kind of description in the Nirukta, Yaska. Some people have Gotra of Yaska. Some of my cousins have Yaska Gotra. They are the descendants of Yaska Maharshi. Then, of course, finally, the sixth one is Jyotisha. That is the, Jyotisha has two parts. Somebody else, some other speaker will cover that. What is called the Hora Shastra and the Goda Shastra. Goda Jhaya means it is astronomy, observational astronomy, positional astronomy. And Hora is the time. Ahoratra, we have removed the center two letters, it will become Hora. So from that word Hora came hour in English. So time calculations. So based on the daytime and the month and so on that. And basically it is time calculation. And there's the third one is Vedanga Jyotisha, which is by Lagadha, using which people were able to predict something. The predictions are very popular, but Jyotish Shastra doesn't mean only predictions. It means positional astronomy, observational astronomy, and time calculation. So that is the last Vedanga. Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, 3, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotisha. Chandas is nothing but the meters used in the Vedic mantras. Like in Telugu Padjal, we have Utpalamala, Champakamala, Ata Veladi. Like Vemana wrote everything in Ata Veladi. Whereas in Tikkana, Nannaya, you'll find Utpalamala, Champakmala. In the same way, in the Vedas, we have Gayatri Chandas, Anushtup Chandas, Brahati Chandas. So these meters of the mantras, that is Chandas Shastra. So Pingala wrote the Chandas Shastra, and where he has used zero and one concept with Laghu and Guru. You must have seen in Telugu grammar also in school. Laghu Gurus are there. Laghu is singular and yeah.
Okay.
So this is the Chandas Shastra. We will try to touch upon it tomorrow. Today we have finished all the time now.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for giving the overview of Vedangas today and
Any
tomorrow.
other questions?
Any other questions? You are all unmuted. If no questions, then we will go for Prarthana and then Janaganamana. Aditi, please chant Prarthana.
Yes, Guruji. Sahana bhavatu, sorry, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Swasti.
Okay, so let's go for Janaganamana. Chala Chittibabu garu.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय जय।